Morning guys, welcome back to the channel, and to give you an update on this week's vlog, it's suddenly gone absolutely manic. I've got to be truthful, a lot of work to do at the minute, and a lot going off, more than usual, probably because summer's coming and just other things, but so much work to deal with this week. We actually closed yesterday, which was Monday, and we closed for a particular reason. Well, I wanted a day off because I work 7 days a week as a rule. And we actually got rid of the RS3, which I don't even think many of you have seen because we haven't really uploaded anything. We've not done money blogs, and we've done a couple of photos, and that's about it. And I've got to say, this was an insane car. It's a really impressive car, a lot more than I actually thought it was going to be. But it just didn't really tick the boxes for me. We've done the rotiform wheels, Wheel Pro sorted us out with that. I tried to kind of make it my thing. It just didn't really tick the boxes for me. And I don't know why, because do you know, when I do drive it, and we went out on it on Sunday, and we went out on it yesterday, it's blisteringly quick. It's insane at handling. It's better than I thought, and I'm not a four-wheel drive fan as a rule. We've PPF the whole front end of the bloody car, which has obviously cost me money. We've done the forged carbon on the actual mirrors, which looks insane, and I'm going to have to do that on the next car. But that car's gone. That's gone. That's going on Saturday, and the new car's coming on Saturday. So I am going to let you know what the new car is. I'm not going to make it the guest quiz like we normally do, where I kind of try and figure out what it is. I don't know how it came off, in all fairness. We were out on Sunday with a few friends who I've met through the supercar clubs, and we go out quite regular now, and we're doing some tours in Wales and some other trips. And we were just discussing, you know, sort of the cars that I've got. Why do I keep buying cars like the TT, which is up there on the ramp, ready for sale, possibly going this week. We've obviously got the BMW, which has got a few engine issues, or it's got an earth fault, but that's basically over there, and that's on eBay at the minute. That's ready to sell. I want to try and get the earth issue resolved because I can actually sell it for 3,000-4,000 quid more. We've done it cheap just to kind of move it on, but it's a shame. But they were kind of saying to me, why are you buying so many cars? Find something you like. And the truth is, there wasn't a car I really liked or I wanted, and that's since getting the McLaren, which was a bit of a life goal. It was a bit of a dream to get something like that. Obviously it had faults, had a really bad experience with it, just wasn't something I wanted anymore. Never will buy a McLaren ever again. They're insane. A friend of ours has one from the units across. You've seen it obviously on our photographs. It's the 600 LT, MSO, special edition, Senna seats. It's insane, and I do love it to bits. But from my experience now, truth is, I will never ever own a McLaren again. Just, it's done it for me. And I've realised they're not that great. They're a handling car, they're a power car, they're a driver's car, but they've got nothing in them whatsoever. And the thing is, I'm going to be doing Wales, Scotland, possibly Europe again this year, and I want a car that's got all the fancy mod cons, really good stereo, heads up or virtual display, a lot of features to enjoy the long distance drive, but enjoy the drive when we're there as well. And that's why I've ended up going out and spending the day yesterday looking at R8 V10s and V10 Pluses, and that's what we've bought. It's done a bit more mileage than some. It's 50k. A lot of them we saw were 20, but it's got the full carbon pack. It's blathered in carbon. The vents, splitter, spoiler, side skirts, grills, light, you name it. It's got everything. It's specced up inside. Harman Kardon stereo is insane. The virtual display, really high quality with all the extra features on there, and the speed zones, everything you can imagine, and the power and the grip blew my mind. Yeah, I actually went thinking it's not going to be any better than the RS3 really for double the money, and I went on the basis of it's going to talk me out of buying that car, and the truth is, as soon as I went down the bloody road, I wanted it. And it was the first one I drove, but the third car I'd looked at, but the first one I drove, we just bought it. and I'm picking that up on Saturday, and then we're off to the SCUK event, straight liners, on the Sunday, so I'm actually going to be taking it there. It's going to be full of swirls, it's going to be full of scratches, the paint's not going to be perfect, it's Mythos black, so it's going to show marks, but it's my first day I've got it. And then I've got to decide now, and I'm really stuck on this, do I PPF the front end and detail and ceramic the back, or do I wrap it, completely colour change it? Which I do like the black car, but I am thinking a wrap might be the next step on this one for a bit of protection, similar to PPF, obviously not as good, but just to change the look for me and use it as a bit of a demo car. But anyway, you're going to see more of that as it comes. What we're actually working on this week, and I think this is going to be a bigger job than we expected, and it's also a little bit frustrating, to be completely honest. We've got this new electric Mini in. Now, we had this in, I think I'm going to be right saying probably 6-7 weeks ago, and this was in for a Ceramic Pro booking. The paint was pretty much flawless, so we only really spent like a day on it, and then we did, I believe, I'm trying to think now, it might have been the bronze package, so it wasn't the highest package, it only really had like one hardener and one top coat effectively. It didn't have the 4 or 5 layers of hardener on it, but this is because we'd done that with their other car, and this one we weren't going to go as far on. So the problem we've got with this car, and I'm not going to be naming names or brands, because to be fair, they've been supportive for the client, but the dealership have washed this car, and they've washed it with brushes, and they said they hadn't. They said they have a brushless system, they don't even have brushes. We found bristle hairs in the car, like in bits of grill and so on, so we know it's been done with brushes. Long story short, the customer basically asked for CCTV footage to prove it wasn't done with a brush, because if it wasn't, then we were just going to go, it is what it is, don't know how it's happened, you haven't done it, and the cameras weren't available. So the dealership have agreed to pay in full for this to have a full correction again and a re-ceramic coating of the same coatings that were on it before. It's really frustrating, however, because this is repelling and beading insane, like absolutely insane, like it should do, because it's fresh. But I'm going to show you on camera how everything just repels, including even things like the scuttle panel that we coated, because we do those areas as standard and all the little bits. But now we're going to have to take this back to get the marks out, because they are really bad. They are really bad. We're going to have to literally cut the whole car all over again. That's going to take the ceramic coating off to a point, maybe even all of it, I don't know yet till we get on with it, and then we're going to have to recoat the whole car again. So this is having a lot more work than it really should need or should have for a new car. It's been paid for, which is great. It just means the customer's without the car for a week, but it's frustrating to see when the car literally is repelling the way it is. So like, as you can see here, it's just water's falling off. Same with the scuttle panel again. If I can get the scuttle panel in on the camera, you'll see the scuttle panel just literally repels. Hopefully that got it on camera, because I'm trying to video myself. But that's what we're on with this week, guys. We've got this to do. We have got to repair the Lone Smart car, because unfortunately we lent it to someone on the weekend and it's come back with a damaged clutch. So I'm not really sure what's happened with that. I don't know if they've been ragging it about or what, but that's got to be sorted as well. The documents and the reg and everything's got to come off the RS3. That's obviously going on the ramp, and then we've got some trackers and some ghost systems getting fitted onto other cars. So this week is absolutely manic, guys. We'll try and update you as we go. We'll get some more photos on for the cars and coffee meets. They're going on gradually. So if you follow our social media, you'll see that there's generally 2 posts a day at the minute with about 10 photos on. So we're going to be posting more and more, because there's still more to come. And we have got a date for the new cars and coffee event that we're going to be holding for ourselves. There's 2 more coming up for dedicated car clubs. So if you have a car club and you want your own exclusive cars and coffee mate, send us an email, we'll get that booked for you. But we have an official second, and it's the summer bring off of the cars and coffee event coming up shortly, and we're going to be revealing that date hopefully by the time this video is actually done. So keep an eye on social media, guys. because you're going to miss a big event if you miss it again, because the last one was insane. So again, speak to you soon, get some more updates on there, and have a good day. So then guys, we're on to Friday. We've pretty much finished the Mini that you obviously saw at the beginning of this video. There's a little bit more been going on this week. It's actually been rammed, I'm going to be honest. The amount of work and the amount of things that have been going off kind of blown my head a little bit. But it's for me as well, and it's definitely a bonus. It's just been a heavy week. I'm going to show you the Mini shortly. We're about to literally put the top coat back on now. We did the 9H yesterday using the Ceramic Pro. It's been fully detailed. We PPF the front end as well. That was like an additional request from the customer. They're paying for that direct. So we've done that while it's in. It looks absolutely insane, does this Mini. It looks just as good, if not better than it did when we first got it in again. Because in theory, we've kind of done a bit more work because it needed more work, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. The other thing that I'm going to show you is just what's down there. I've got to say, it's probably the best car I have ever had the experience of being in, and I don't know why I'm saying that, because I generally thought these cars weren't that great, and that is the Audi Gen 2 R8 V10. And the facelift that they did on this completely transformed the car for me. It changed the whole look of it. Now let's be honest, the original Audi R8 was insane. It was epic. When that first came out, and I don't even know how many years ago it was, it's got to be 15, 16, maybe more. I test drove one on a track when I went to do one of these track experiences, and the look of the car, the sound of the V8, the drivability absolutely blew me away, and you went, wow, Audi have made a supercar. And if you were a car guy, you generally did think that. Now when you look back at them, they're still cool, they're really cool, but they're dated as hell. And things have changed a lot, especially for me, and I do like my sort of kind of fancy gadgets and gizmos and all the new technology. But those cars were insane. This thing absolutely blew me away. Now, I went to view this on Monday, took the missus with me. We'd obviously recently had the McLaren that you knew we had faults with. Great dealership, in all fairness, all got sorted out. I took the RS3 as a bit of a Part X just to kind of have a car, because I fell out of love with cars, as I said on the previous video. And I didn't know what I wanted, and the truth is there wasn't a car that I really wanted other than my current X5, which I love to bits. We've just took that to CLP, had a hell of a lot of work done on it. It had a few problems. It had like a water leak, gearbox needed the oil changing, little bits and bobs. Took it to Dan, did a full inspection at CLP. It was a 2-page list, and it was stuff that didn't really need doing, but it were advisable. And because I'm keeping that car, we've gone to town on it, and the bill were about 1,800 quid, but he's changed the arms, he's walnut blasted the engine, or the manifold, obviously, if you want to get technical, and the car drives insane now. Now, Dan said it probably won't make much more of a difference, the walnut blasting and so on, but it really has. Honestly, I can feel how smooth it is. The missus drove it back and said she's never driven a car like it. It's absolutely amazing. She'd never driven that car before because it's a bit too big for her. And it drives insane. But basically, Monday, we took the rest of the day off, and I went to go and view a couple of cars, and I wanted to look at R8s because there wasn't really a car that took my eye and a car that I really wanted. And I actually thought, I'm going to drive an R8, and I'm going to drive it for one reason. And the reason I wanted to drive an R8 was I was convinced that it wouldn't be any better than the RS3 that I had, and I previously had an RS5 which drove very similar. I'd say the RS3 were a bit more nimble, the RS5 were a better cruiser, probably a better car to be fair, but I actually thought this R8 is not going to be any better, and it's double the money. I mean, we're talking 80 grand for these sort of cars, where the RS3s are 40 grand. And I thought it's not going to be that good. So I went to the sales guys, went to Optimum Cars in York. They're just off the motorway where the services are. You've probably not realised they're there because there's another dealership at the front that I've seen. I've never actually seen Optimum, and they are massive, absolutely massive, but I'm going to go into that in a minute. But went there, looked at a blue one, wasn't really the colour I wanted, to be honest, but I was going to wrap it. Then I realised it didn't have the black grille, it didn't have any carbon, it kind of didn't have anything, it didn't even have the spoiler, and I was like, 80 grand, I'm going to end up putting 10 into this. I'm not really that fussed, to be honest with you. And then John said, look, we've got a black one, bit more miles on it, but it's been looked after, it's had a lot of work done on it. Why don't you come and have a look? It's outside, we'll go for a test drive in it. Walked out, instantly saw this black car. Now the paint is knackered, with detailers, kind of get that, I'm going to show you that in a bit. But it looked insane. It had the plus spoiler, it's got the carbon vents on the side, it's got the carbon part where the petrol cap is, carbon on the grills, carbon on the rear lights, carbon on the front lights, carbon rear diffuser. It's blathered in carbon and it looks insane. He then started it up and we realised it had an exhaust option on there. I don't know what it is, if I'm truthful, but it sounds absolutely insane, like a race car. But he put it in comfort, it's quiet. And I've driven it today and I drove it last night in comfort and it's deadly silent. It's like you wouldn't even know it were a V10. You put it in sport mode or dynamic and my God, this car is blew my head. I've not heard a car like this for a long time, and it's me all the way through. I love it. And the drive, got in it, started going down the road, thought steering's quite responsive, a bit like the GT4, because I do like to feel the steering. Obviously I did a bit of racing. I like to feel the car. The RS3 kind of were too electronic. And I don't think these even have electronic power steering. I might be wrong actually, I don't think they have fluid in them, from what I read. I'm sure it's just, it might be pure electronic, but it's got some adaptive stuff, and it generally feels like a very old school kind of car where you feel every nut and bolt on the road. And I've got to be honest, the drive was insane. This felt like getting in the McLaren I'd just had, but better in every single way. Now I'm always going to be a McLaren guy and a Porsche guy, and I can't take it away. And like I say, the 600 LT that we get in here quite often for work, it's probably the best car I've ever seen overall for the whole experience. But the R8 does way more for me, and I really mean way more. Like, it's got the virtual cockpit, I just like stuff like that. Bang & Olufsen speakers, the sound quality is insane, the comfort is I can't describe it to anything else. You could literally drive round Europe in this car and do the long haul and not realise you were in a supercar. It's got like a cockpit that comes around your legs. It blew my head, honestly, and I kind of knackered it for myself because the sales guy knew that I like this car, and that is not the thing you do with a sales guy. You don't let them know you like it because you've got no play, you've got no way of kind of getting a deal out of them. But coming back to that, John was amazing at Optimum. I said I'd give him a bit of a shout out. Really helpful from the beginning. Knows his cars, had seriously powerful cars, not just a sales guy that reads a book. John knew what he were on about, and the whole experience was better than I've had from any other dealership, and I've got to say I didn't expect it. We tried to arrange collection yesterday. John said he were a bit tied up, he might not be able to do it till Saturday, which would be an issue for me. And I kind of like, do you know, I'm only picking the car up, I've paid for it, I just want to pick it up, take it home and go. I don't really know why it's going to take this long or what we need to book an appointment. And when I got there I realised why, and that's because they unveil the car for you like you would if you were buying a brand new car from a dealership, which is a really nice touch. Now at first I didn't know what was happening, I'm not really that kind of thing. I don't really like publicity sort of things. I'm not even a fan of doing YouTube. I'm not even a fan of kind of doing the YouTube stuff. I like doing it, but I kind of don't like being on camera. So it was a bit of a shocker at first, but it's a nice touch. So the video, the car being unveiled in front of you, John hands you the keys. There's a full handover, like a 10-page pamphlet of what they've checked on the car, what they've done on the car, highlighting what they've done. The things I didn't realise, and it does say on the website now I've looked, but I didn't know, they've provided a silver and a gold 12 months warranty on the car for me free of charge, which I paid extra for with the McLaren and the X5. That's free from Optimum, which I didn't realise. They've also got 12 months breakdown cover, again, free of charge on there, which again, I didn't even realise. If I'd have read the website a bit more, I'd have realised that. But I didn't, and you know what, that's a nice touch, because I was going to put a warranty on this car anyway, but they have covered everything. The other thing that they did is, I know it's a bit of an advert for them, but this is a nice touch. They've basically taken a really nice photograph. There's a professional photographer there, really nice guy, and he's taken a photograph of the car and he's put that into a frame and provided that for me for the office. And that's something I don't have to do, and I know it's a bit of an advert and I don't care, because do you know what, it's a nice touch. It's like giving a key ring, or you know, like a lanyard or a sticker, but they've done something that they didn't have to do. And then the other thing that were really nice is there's a really fancy bottle of wine in a box that they've actually put aside for my other half, and given her a bottle of red wine. And again, just little touches. So I've got to say thanks very much to John and the guys over there, and it was an amazing experience buying that car from Optimum, and I've already recommended them to a couple of you guys who follow us, and I just want to say thanks overall. And this is going to be going on the office. As you know, we've got a lot of fancy expensive art in here. This is going to be going on the wall at the side of that. But now I'm going to show you this R8, and I'm going to show you the Mini, because obviously that's part of the job, that's a customer's car, that's actually more important. But we're going to show you the Mini pretty much finished, ready for the top coat, ready to be baked. But here's a look at the R8. Now this forged carbon vinyl, pretty damn expensive to be totally honest with you, but it looks absolutely insane. The roof has now been done on the R8, and I've done the mirrors to match. I had a little bit of PPF left over, so I've actually PPF the back of my phone because I did buy some proper stuff for it, and it is obviously one of those flip phones, fold, whatever you call it. And the PPF start stuff were crap, so I actually decided to use proper PPF. But what I've also done is I've matched the front of my phone in the forged carbon to match my mirrors. I know it's really sad, but you know, when you've got the stuff available and there's a bit of an off-cut, you might as well take advantage and use it. So I'm not going to show you the paint, that's for another video, because I'm going to be doing a lot on this car. We're going to be PPFing the full front end. The bonnet is absolutely massive, so I'm going to have to double check even if the film's big enough. I'm sure it is, but it's kind of scary me. I think that's actually bigger than the roll of PPF film, but I'm sure it isn't, because people have done these. But that bonnet is huge. But we're going to full PPF the front end. I've got a new splitter already on order. CUK have basically sent us a full splitter that's coming in a few days. Tech Wrap have sent us out some film, and we're going to be, I've already, as you can see, I've put the cut tape on here. We're going to be putting forged carbon on the roof and forged carbon on the mirrors, and then the rest of the car, not sure yet. Do I just detail it and put Ceramic Pro on it, or do we PPF the whole car and have it completely done? I'm not sure. If anything, I'm probably going to PPF the carbon, just because it's obviously very expensive. I'm not sure if to use this as a demo car where we have the front PPF'd and then we have the rear just ceramiced, obviously detailed within its life. It's going to take a week of machine work, but I'm not sure on that yet. But let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know how you think we need to go. I'm still not sure how far we need to go with that. And it's also a time thing for us, because my cars always have to get done in our own time, and we don't have a lot of that at the minute. And here is the Mini. You wouldn't know that it's one finished, but literally this is now got to have the top coat done, a free valet done on the inside, and I'm going to recoat the glass as well, free of charge for the customer. And I'm going to show you the Mini pretty much complete, because this looks insane, and I know the customer is going to fall back in love with this, because they have had a few problems, they've had a few things that haven't really been right, and it's kind of put her off. And it's a bit of a, I know what it's like to get a car and have issues, and it's a real kind of kicker, and I understand that. And I want to hand this back to Joe tomorrow, and let her see how amazing this is and her fall back in love with this brand new car that she's got. So here's a quick montage of the Mini, pretty much finished.